This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
The Wenatchee Valley's two largest school districts have now completed the drafting of their respective operating budgets for the 2019-2020 school year. For much of the 71,000-plus square miles within Washington's borders, 2019 is once again looking like many recent years for arid conditions.
Does this look like the place you'd put a roller coaster? This little hill at the west end of Leavenworth is causing big concerns in the Bavarian village.
It all comes down to this. Three teams in the SCAC East are tied for first place heading into the final game of the season on Tuesday night.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
The Wenatchee Valley's two largest school districts have now completed the drafting of their respective operating budgets for the 2019-2020 school year. Both the Eastmont School District and the Wenatchee SD were forced to make some curtailments to their current spending, but overall each fared much better than many other school districts in the state.
We got lucky. Our staff, of course, is incredibly expert, and they looked at what we had and took a look at what was going to be coming in, and they were able to craft a solution where we really depended on attrition, retirements, resignations, but we were able to avoid bloodshed.
Fiscal fallout from Washington's McCleary decision has heavily impacted the budgets of several school districts statewide, including some in low-income areas like the Rogers School District in Spokane, where officials announced the layoffs of 325 teachers and staff members earlier this month. And while the Wenatchee School District wasn't forced into the enormity of sweeping cuts that other districts were, the reductions it did make are expected to have an impact.
They weren't minimal cuts. Any cut is not a minimal cut. Teachers are going to have to be picking up custodial duties in some instances. In other words, we're not going to have that many people out in the buildings as we have in the past. We lost an assistant athletic director, and I know that position really did a lot of work district-wide, and that's going to be missed. That is going to be felt deeply.
The Wenatchee School District also slashed several assistant principal positions and reduced the hours many of its counselors can work. Across town, Eastmont Superintendent Garn Christensen credits a number of factors to his district's sparse reductions, including a conservative approach to estimating future enrollments and attritional staff management practices, much like the Wenatchee School District utilized to save money there. Officials at both districts are hopeful that Sunday's 11th hour passage of an additional $1 billion to fund basic education in the state will allow them to head back to the drawing board and make some selective reinstatements later this year. Reporting for iFIBER 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
This segment is brought to you by
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination, from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
For much of the 71,000-plus square miles within Washington's borders, 2019 is once again looking like many recent years for arid conditions. The latest survey data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture paints over two-thirds of the state as being abnormally dry and lists roughly 10% of its landscape under a moderate drought designation. That 10%, where the USDA has labeled conditions to be the worst, includes an area spread over most of Okanogan County and covering nearly all of Chelan County as well. The Washington Department of Ecology has also made an official drought declaration for both the Okanogan and Methow basins within this driest of zones. The parching news is not only grim for the region's growers and irrigators, but also prompts tremendous concerns about the potential severity of this summer's wildfire season. Although the current situation isn't allowing the Evergreen State to live up to its namesake, other western states are thankfully experiencing better conditions, with approximately 75% of neighboring Oregon listed as average, and California having recently been declared drought-free for the first time in almost a decade. Nationwide, the U.S. is currently 86% drought-free after setting a 6-month record for rainfall in 2018 and just recorded one of its wettest first 3 months of any year in its history. Reporting for iFIBER 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
This segment is brought to you by
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
Does this look like the place you'd put a roller coaster? This little hill at the west end of Leavenworth is causing big concerns in the Bavarian village. It's the proposed site for the Leavenworth Adventure Park, a $6 million family fun center that would feature an alpine coaster, climbing wall, bungee trampoline, and other activities. But local residents worry the project would create too much noise, light, and traffic, and double down on parking problems that are already plaguing the city. Hearing examiner Andrew Kotkamp heard testimony from developers and their opponents in an all-day public meeting on Tuesday. About 250 locals packed the Fest Hall Event Center to attend. Local hydrologist Robert Parrish said there's a wetland next to the site that hasn't been adequately studied.
Now, the extent of open water at this site is highly seasonal, but the key point is that it is clearly sufficient for use by waterfowl during the springtime.
Architect Allison Miller told Kotkamp under the park's current design, the lights from the coaster would be clearly visible from neighborhoods and businesses all over Leavenworth, and even in rural areas. The city of Leavenworth has already said the adventure park, right at the west entrance of town, would have no significant environmental impact on the area, a finding that local townsfolk appealed. It's up to Kotkamp to determine whether the park needs an environmental impact study and whether to award the permits it would need to start construction. Kotkamp must deliver his decision within 10 days. Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
It all comes down to this. 3 teams in the SCAC East are tied for first place heading into the final game of the season on Tuesday night. Wharton, College Place, and Royal are all 10-4, and all of them are facing scenarios where they could end as the top dog. The Wharton Cougars are going on the road to take on the College Place Hawks, while the Royal Knights are staying home and will host Connell. The team that appears the least likely to finish as the number 1 seed is the Hawks. For the Hawks to finish as league champs, they would need to beat the Cougars and hope the Knights lose to Connell. In that scenario, the Cougars would finish as the number 2 seed over Royal. Should the Cougars beat the Hawks, then they clinch league champs, and if the Knights win, they would be the number 2 seed over the Hawks. If the Hawks beat the Cougars and the Knights beat Connell, then Royal would end as league champs and Wharton would drop to the number 3 seed. It'll be a wild day for each team needing a win, as the difference between being a number 1 seed and the number 3 seed is significant. I'm Adam Chkoski for iFIBER 1 Sports.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.